Hi everyone, my name is Leslie Cintron. You may remember me from Diversity in Computing. I'm back. Hi. I'm a member of the Lighthouse CC project team, and today I'm going to talk about active recruiting. Earlier, we talked about the current state of affairs in the mismatch between the needs of our economy and society, on the one hand, and the lack of people studying computing, on the other. Now what I'm going to talk about is what we can do about it. That is, how you can take steps to bring about positive change in getting women and members of underrepresented minority groups into your classes and into the field. So we learned earlier in diversity in computing that lack of diversity is in fact a problem. Many people from diverse groups are not getting ready for these great occupations that are going to be in such abundance in our economy now and in the future. So what are we supposed to do then? Is it possible to get women and to get members of other represented minority groups into computing? Well, getting more diversity into computing means fighting the status quo. Few people consider computer science because of the stereotypes that are associated with it. Many don't realize the benefits of pursuing a computing career, and only a few will have explored computer science before and hardly know about the possible relationship between computing and their interests, their existing interests. In addition, many will lack confidence about their ability and their ability to do well in a computing course. And as for women, few of their female friends will have studied, let alone majored or worked in computer science. The prevailing social message is that you don't belong in computing, young woman, or member of this underrepresented minority group. It's not what you're good at. It's not what you like. That's the underlying current. That's the background in our culture. And if we want to change things, we actually have to do something active to address it. We have to, in fact, actively recruit women and members of underrepresented minority groups into the field. And the good news is that, yes, we know that it's not only possible to do it, but it can have good effects. What am I supposed to do? Well, the first thing is that you can craft messages, and you need to think carefully about what appeals to the things that members of these groups care about. You can do it by actively reaching out and conveying your message in a way that they will hear it. You need to raise the visibility of computing and computing occupations in your courses, in your department, in building that you work in. And you also have to personally persuade members of the underrepresented groups to give computing a try, to take a risk, to give computing a try. Now, if you use these practices, it's likely that you will succeed. That is, you will get more and diverse students into your computing classes. High school teachers that have come to a diversity-focused workshop called Tapestry Workshops report success. These are high school teachers that have found that when they use the techniques that we talk about in this course and in the workshops, that in fact they have a huge number of women, and actually all students, but particularly women and members of underrepresented minority groups, into their courses. And so here you see that the AP courses, there was a 48% rise in the number of students taking AP as a result of active recruiting techniques. And there was a 73% rise in the number of girls taking CS AP courses in the classes of the teachers who reported back to us after taking the Tapestry workshop. And it also operates for the non-AP courses as well. Okay, so 53% rise in underrepresented minorities in the AP courses, 22% rise in the number of underrepresented minorities in the non-AP courses, but also a rise just overall. So active recruiting works. How to craft messages is an important component for active recruiting. And the way to do it is capitalize on how people choose their occupations. There is research that shows that people who have an interest, who have a confidence, and who have belonging and identity for a particular field that would lead to a particular occupation would be much more likely to choose that as an occupation for themselves. And so we have to capitalize on the things that we know already affect choices for occupations. Interest, that is, finding the subject, the topic, and the work interesting. Confidence, believing themselves that they can succeed in this subject. Belonging, having a feeling that they belong with the people who are in these courses, in these programs, in these professions, and that they're comfortable with those other people, that is, other students, other workers. And identity, that is, that they see themselves as a computing person. So if you can hone in on this and develop and capitalize on these factors, you can do a lot to attract and actively recruit people into your courses.